From 2015 to 2022, the Golden State Warriors were the kings of the NBA. In those 7 years, they won 4 championships and went to 6 finals. And let's be honest, they weren't just winning, they were changing the game. With Steph Curry draining threes, Klay Thompson splashing from deep like he had a cheat code, and Draymond Green being, well, Draymond. The Warriors redefined what dominance looked like. But all the dynasties faced storms, and the Warriors' cloud started brewing after their 2022 title run. Fast forward to 2023, they got bounced by the Lakers in the playoffs, and then things went from bad to worse. They didn't just lose games, they lost identity, missing the postseason altogether last season. For a once untouchable team, it was looking like everything was falling apart. Then the shockers came. Thompson, the other half of the Splash Brothers, packed his bags in free agency, and Chris Paul, he was here and then gone. Not that anyone really saw him as part of the Warriors' long-term puzzle. Suddenly, the question everyone asked was that it? Was the dynasty done? I mean, watching those classic Warriors games used to be a must-see event. It was like a masterclass in shooting, ball movement, and playing the game the right way. Steph, Klay, and Draymond weren't just teammates. They were a three-headed monster that struck fear into every contender. But now, with Klay out of the picture, Andrew Wiggins showing flashes of brilliance only to disappear when it counts, and Draymond's unpredictability casting a shadow, it's easy to jump to conclusions. So, is this dynasty over? Many will tell you yes. 9 seasons, 4 titles, and 5 years with over 57 wins. But while it may look like the sun has set on Golden State's reign, don't count them out just yet. This team knows how to evolve. They've done it before, and they might just do it again. We can't deny that the past few months have been a bit of a disappointment for the Dubs. They got beaten by the Sacramento Kings 118-94 in the play-in tournament. That night, many fans and pundits across the globe declared the Warriors dynasty officially dead. Dubs were not just out of the playoffs, they were out of championship contention altogether. For the 3rd time in 5 years, the postseason door slammed shut on them. It felt like a curtain call for the team that used to make the NBA Finals look like their annual tradition. We've seen it before. Michael Jordan's Bulls dismantled, Shaq and Kobe's Lakers parting ways, and the Miami Heat's Big Three dissolving when LeBron took his talents back to Cleveland. But that's not where the Warriors are. They've taken some hits, sure. They've had a couple of ugly seasons, no doubt. But they're still standing, still together. And that's what everyone's missing. This team isn't broken. It's just bruised. The pieces that made them great still exist, and as long as they do, there's always a chance for one more run, one more flash of brilliance, one more three-pointer that makes the entire league shudder. It's no secret that getting bounced in the play-in tournament hurt, and with every passing day, the gap between the Warriors' glorious past and their shaky present feels wider. They need to get back to contending. They need to prove they can still hang with the big dogs in the tricky Western Conference. But the Warriors front office didn't hit the big red reset button. They didn't blow it all up. Sure, they made changes, but this team is still chasing championships, not rebuilding from scratch. One of the biggest headlines this offseason was waiving Chris Paul, the same Chris Paul they brought in during 2023 after shipping Jordan Poole off to the Wizards. It was supposed to be a masterstroke, a way to bring in a veteran playmaker to lead the second unit. But reality hit hard. CP3's once dominant scoring touch had faded, and the Warriors' experiment with him just didn't pan out. So they cut their losses and moved on. But that wasn't the only shocker. For the first time in 13 years, the Warriors will be without Klay Thompson. The Splash Brother everyone loved, the guy who hit threes with ice-cold precision and locked down the league's best scorers, is now wearing a Dallas Mavericks jersey. It was a tough pill to swallow for Warriors fans, but when the Mavs dangled a 3-year, $50 million contract in front of him, it was a deal Klay couldn't turn down. The Warriors, already juggling an astronomical luxury tax bill, just couldn't match the offer. In his final game with the Warriors, Klay went scoreless, missing all 10 of his shots, including 6 from downtown. It was a bitter ending to a legendary run, and while the move was a clear step forward for the Mavericks, who needed more firepower after a rough loss to the Celtics in the finals, it's equally about what the Warriors used to be and what they're trying to become. Now, it's a totally different Warriors team. Not too different, but different. The iconic Big Three of Steph, Draymond, and Klay is no more. With Klay gone, Steph and Dre are left to steer the ship with a roster that looks, well, let's just say it's not quite as star-studded. But don't count them out just yet. New faces like Buddy Hield, Kyle Anderson, and DeAnthony Melton have joined the mix, bringing fresh energy to a squad that needs a serious injection of life. Buddy Hield might not have the same charisma as Klay, but he's here to keep the Warriors' trademark three-point shooting alive. No player drained more threes than Hield in the last 5 seasons. That said, Klay was never just a shooter. He was a leader, a mentor, a cornerstone of the team's culture. Replacing that isn't a one-man job, and the Warriors know it. But here's the thing, this isn't just about filling gaps. It's about embracing a new era. The Warriors aren't just relying on their shiny new acquisitions. They're betting big on their young guns too. Guys like Jonathan Kuminga, Brandon Podziemski, and Trayce Jackson-Davis are the ones who will carry the torch into the future. They might not have the same resume as Steph and Draymond, at least not yet, or probably never, but they're ready to prove themselves on the biggest stage. Klay's departure isn't like losing Michael Jordan in his prime or watching Shaq pack his bags for Miami. It's more like saying goodbye to an essential leader and locker room presence. The reality is that other guys have got to step up. And if you're looking at the Warriors roster, Jonathan Kuminga is front and center. He has to make a leap. We're talking about turning from a promising youngster into a borderline star. Someone who can actually relieve Steph of carrying the scoring load every single night. Either he's going to be the guy who's giving defenses nightmares, slashing and scoring as a ball-handling forward, or he's the Warriors' biggest trade asset if they decide to go star chasing, especially with the contract issues hanging in the balance. But let's look at the best-case scenario. Kuminga earns a starting spot, Trayce Jackson-Davis anchoring the middle, Draymond Green holding down the power forward spot, and Andrew Wiggins is back in form as the shooting guard, or maybe Moody or Podziemski getting the role. That lineup looks athletic and intimidating. With Kuminga as the reliable second scorer behind Steph, suddenly the Warriors are dangerous again. But it's not a guaranteed fairy tale. For that scenario to play out, Kuminga's got to level up. He needs to handle the ball better, hit his shots with more consistency, and crucially nail those threes. If he can't deliver, the Warriors might find themselves scrambling to fill a massive gap in their offense. Then there's Andrew Wiggins. The Warriors need the old Wiggins, the guy who averaged nearly 18 points a game in his early years with the team. If Wiggins can return to that form, that's another huge piece of the puzzle falling into place. A reliable Wiggins paired with an improved Kuminga would take so much pressure off Steph, allowing the Dubs to spread the scoring wealth like they did during their glory days. Here's what makes this whole situation different. Unlike other teams who've seen their dynasties crash and burn after losing a star, the Warriors are still holding on to their main playmakers. They still have Steph, they still have Dre, and they still have the DNA that made them great. These two aren't going anywhere, and their experience will keep the Warriors afloat. Steph's still playing at an elite level, having helped Team USA win gold during the Summer Olympics, and Draymond, he's as fiery and relentless as ever. They're going to do what they always do. Push this team forward, set the tone, and make sure the young guys fall in line. Now, in today's NBA, it's almost unheard of for a superstar to spend their entire career with one team. Maybe Steph finishes his career with the Warriors, or maybe he moves on if they can't keep him surrounded by a competitive team. Nobody would be too shocked if he left, but for now, he's still wearing the Golden State jersey, and as long as he is, there's always hope. The Dubs didn't even make the playoffs in 2023-24, and right now, they're not sitting among the top contenders heading into the 2024-25 season. This is uncharted territory for a team that's dominated the last decade. The future feels uncertain, but that doesn't mean it's bleak. No team has pulled off back-to-back finals appearances in the West since the Warriors did it in 2018 and 2019. The competition is fierce in the West. But here's the thing, Golden State's secret sauce wasn't just about stats or superstar power. It was about a culture and a winning mentality that can't just disappear overnight. The cold, hard truth is that eventually all dynasties face the end. And while no one in the Bay Area is eager to see the curtain drop on this iconic era, the Warriors know they can't run from it forever. There's a bittersweet reality here at some point. Steph, and yes, even Draymond, will give way to a new generation. Yet, there's a reason they haven't hit the panic button. As long as they have that mindset, don't count them out just yet. After all, dynasties may fade, but they don't go quietly. No one really gave them a chance to win the 2022 championship, but they did. So the Warriors are still here, still fighting, and looking to make history one way or another. Thanks for watching, and make sure to drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel, and be sure to check out this video right here.